What would you do if a single moment erased who you were, leaving you trapped as a girl with no way back? As I pulled into my friend's driveway, I thought about how excited I was to see him. My friend Joel had been overseas for the last couple of months and had only just arrived back home. I hadn't seen him since before he left the country. I couldn't wait to catch up with him. After parking my car and grabbing my things, I started walking the short distance to Joel's front door. When I got to the door, I knocked loudly. I then started patiently waiting for a response. After a few moments, I heard what sounded like footsteps coming towards the door from inside. Seconds later, the door was opened. To my surprise, though, the person who had answered was not Joel. Instead, it was his older sister, Alicia. I hadn't seen Alicia in years. I didn't even think she lived with Joel and his parents anymore. It wasn't a big deal, though. I assumed that Joel was inside and Alicia had just happened to answer because she was nearby. After a few seconds of silence, I started talking to her. "Oh, hey Alicia, I haven't seen you for a while," I said, trying my best to be friendly. "I could say the same to you. I assume you're here to see Joel," she said back, also with a friendly tone. "That's correct. He told me he would be here," I said back a few seconds later. Alicia started talking again. "He's not here right now, but he should be back soon. He said he was going out to do some quick shopping around an hour ago," she said. I was about to respond, but Alicia cut me off. "You can still come in, though. He'll be back really soon, so there's no point going anywhere," she continued. After she spoke, she moved over, allowing me to enter the home. I happily walked in. Once I was inside, I followed Alicia to their living room. "You can stay here until Joel's back. He shouldn't be much longer," Alicia said with a smile. "Thanks for the help, Alicia. It was good seeing you again," I said back. "That's all good, Jack. If you need anything, feel free to come knock on my door," she said before walking off, leaving me alone in the living room. Once Alicia had left, I started patiently waiting for Joel to arrive back home. To pass the time, I pulled out my phone and started browsing social media. After only a few minutes of browsing, though, I heard a loud bang from down the hallway. It sounded like something big had fallen over. I initially wasn't sure what to think. After a few moments, though, I realized that I probably should check to see what had happened. I quickly got up from the sofa I had been sitting on and began walking to where I thought the sound had come from. Eventually, I arrived at the door to Alicia's room, the place where I was sure the sound had come from. "Hey, Alicia, are you all right? I heard a loud bang come from your room," I shouted out through the door. I listened intently, hoping Alicia would respond to me. However, she never did. Fearing the worst had happened, I decided to open Alicia's door and see what had happened. After nudging the door open, I saw exactly what I didn't want to see. Alicia was lying on the floor of her room, not moving. Next to her was a toppled-over stool. It looked like she had fallen off of it while trying to access something from a high-up cabinet. When I saw Alicia on the floor, I quickly went over to her to see if she was all right. "Alicia, are you okay?" I said in a panicked tone. She didn't respond, though. She remained lifeless on her bedroom floor. I knew I would have to do something to help Alicia. I just didn't know what. After a few seconds of thought, I finally decided to try and check her pulse, trying my best to stay calm. I kneeled over and put my hand over Alicia's heart, desperately checking for a heartbeat. Thankfully, there was a heartbeat. It seemed like Alicia was okay. As I was about to take my hand away from Alicia's chest, an incredibly bright flash of light filled the room. The light was so bright that it knocked me out. It caused me to fall to the ground right next to where Alicia was. When I eventually regained consciousness, something didn't feel right. As I sat up, my head was spinning. I could barely remember what had just happened. When I went to look around for Alicia to see if she was still okay, I couldn't see her anywhere. It was almost like she had disappeared. Around a minute after regaining consciousness, I decided I wanted to stand up and try to find Alicia. I was still pretty worried about her. I had no idea where she had gone or what had caused the bright flash of light. As I went to stand up, I looked down at the floor and my body for the first time since the flash of light. That's when I finally noticed the changes. Something about my body seemed off. After looking at it for a few seconds, I finally realized the gravity of what had happened to me. My body had transformed into one of a girl, and not just any girl. I had transformed into Alicia. I couldn't believe it. After a long pause, I finally decided to stand up and try and work out what had happened to me. After standing up, I walked over to the full-length mirror in Alicia's room so I could see my reflection. When I saw myself, my fears were confirmed. I had completely transformed into Alicia. I was even wearing Alicia's bright orange dress. There wasn't a trace of masculinity left on my body. After I had stared at my reflection for a few minutes, I figured I should look for where the real Alicia had gone, if I could find her. Maybe she would be able to explain what had happened to me. At least that's what I hoped would happen. After leaving Alicia's room, I started looking around every inch of the house. It took me a good 10 minutes to search everywhere. Unfortunately, though, I found no trace of Alicia. It was almost like Alicia had disappeared into thin air. None of it made any sense to me. As I was thinking about it all, I heard the house's front door open, thinking it might be Alicia. I quickly rushed over to see who it was. Unfortunately for me, though, the person who had opened the door was Joel. "Oh, hey Alicia. Is Jack here? He said he would be here around this time," Joel said to me. Seeing my best friend address me as his sister was really off-putting for me. I had no idea how to respond to him. After a few seconds of silence, I was able to stammer out a reply. "Oh, I haven't seen Jack. He isn't here," I said back. "That's odd. He messaged me telling me he had already arrived. I guess I'll send him a message and see what's up with him," Joel said back casually, thankfully not noticing how incredibly nervous I was. After he finished speaking, he walked past me to where his room was located. I just stood there awkwardly until I finally decided to go back to Alicia's room. Once back there, I sat on Alicia's bed and desperately thought to myself, I knew I had to do something to fix the situation I was in. I just didn't know what. After thinking back to what happened before I became Alicia, I remembered the flash of light. While I still didn't understand how a flash of light could turn me into a girl, I didn't know what else could have caused the transformation. After some more thinking, I decided my best option would be to try and recreate the flash of light. Maybe, if I was lucky, it would reverse whatever the first flash had caused. Using a lamp and flashlight I found in Alicia's room, I started flashing them in front of my face. After quite a few attempts, I realized that my idea just wasn't working. In an attempt to make the flash more dramatic, I gathered a few more lights from around the house and brought them back to Alicia's room. After some more attempts, things were still not working. I was still trapped in Alicia's body. In one last desperate attempt, I gathered every light source I could find around the house and brought them all back to Alicia's room. Even with the extra lights, though, nothing changed. All I achieved was hurting my eyes with the bright lights. By this point, I was pretty distraught. I felt like there was no way I would ever be able to return to my own body. I spent the next few hours brainstorming some more ideas I was hoping I could use to change back. When I went to try them, though, I had no luck with any of the ideas. Nothing I tried did anything to help me return to my own body. Eventually, I just gave up. I went back over to Alicia's bed and laid there defeated. I had no idea what had caused my transformation, where the real Alicia had gone, or even what caused the flash of light. It was all a mystery to me. I laid in the bed until I eventually heard Joel and Alicia's parents arrive home from work. Not long after they arrived back, they came into Alicia's room and greeted me. I tried my best to act like I was actually Alicia, but it really wasn't easy. I knew barely anything about Alicia, making answering questions as her extremely difficult for me. Despite my lack of knowledge, I was able to answer most of the questions pretty well. Joel and Alicia's parents didn't seem to realize I wasn't actually their daughter. After they left, I knew I was going to have to learn a lot more about Alicia if I didn't want to get caught. It seemed like for the time being, I was going to have to pretend to be her, so knowing more about her life would benefit me greatly. Looking through Alicia's phone and laptop helped me learn more about her and the way she acted. Incredibly useful info for me. After around an hour of research, I felt I knew enough to not raise any suspicions with anyone who might have known Alicia. I spent most of the rest of the day alone in Alicia's room. I didn't do very much, though. I spent most of it thinking about the events that had occurred earlier that day. It was crazy how much had happened in just one day. It was honestly pretty scary for me to think about. Eventually, nighttime fell and I decided to get some sleep. After finding some night clothes in Alicia's closet, I started undressing out of the dress I had been wearing since the transformation. It was pretty weird undressing while in a girl's body. It made me feel really weird. Seeing Alicia's body undressed was also an interesting experience for me. I didn't realize just how attractive Alicia was until I looked in the mirror undressed. She was easily one of the best-looking girls I had ever seen. After staring at myself in the mirror for a bit, I eventually put on the night clothes and got into Alicia's bed. When I woke up the next morning, I was still in Alicia's body. It was incredibly disorienting waking up in the body of a girl for the first time. Almost everything I experienced was something I had never experienced before. When I eventually got out of bed, I started getting myself ready for the day. As I went, I realized how much more I had to do as a girl. It was a lot more complicated getting everything ready. After finishing my shower, I went back to Alicia's room to find something to wear. After looking through Alicia's closet, I realized that most of the clothes she owned were either extremely revealing or borderline see-through. It took me quite a while until I found something I considered suitable, a pink bra top with a pair of short shorts. They were still pretty revealing, but when compared with everything else in Alicia's closet, they were really not that bad. After getting dressed, I went over and sat on Alicia's bed before spending some time looking through her social media. To be honest, I spent most of the day not doing much. I didn't even know what to spend my time doing. In the weeks after the transformation, I really didn't do much at all. It was hard to do anything considering what had happened to me. My life had changed so much. As the weeks went on, I slowly got used to life as Alicia. In the early days, I invested a lot of my time into trying to change back into my own body. But when nothing worked, I eventually stopped trying. While it definitely wasn't easy, I eventually decided to embrace my new life as Alicia. I stopped thinking about my old life as Jack and started living exactly like Alicia. It was like a fresh start for me. I honestly didn't mind at all. While living as Alicia would take a lot of getting used to, I was willing to put in the time to do it. The future was going to be interesting. I couldn't wait to see what would happen next. Thanks for watching this video. More videos will be coming very soon. We would really appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to our channel to support us. Thanks for watching.